We're chatting with Tom Peters, international business writer and guru, and we're posing a few questions with him. Tom, some people view New Zealand as incredibly disadvantaged because we're a small country with very few big companies versus countries like America. What is your view on this?
That you're incredibly advantaged. And look, there's been research that's pretty clear that says a nice balance is a good thing.
Yes.
But financial performance of giant companies is awful long term.
Yes.
And if you and I had half an hour, I am willing to inundate you with data that says that. Way back in 1990, and I'm kind of proud of it because I think I may have been the first American to do it, we did a big television show on the German Mittelstand. And I was introduced to the power of the middle-sized company. And the middle-sized company that was better than anybody else on the planet in a particular thing. There was a 12-person chemical company that owned 50% of the global market on some weird little thing that went into coloring candles. So to me, and it's true in the United States if you look at the stats.
Yes.
And our Fortune 500, which is God's gift to humanity, and particularly given their level of internationalization, they only employ 5% of Americans. 95% of us ain't doing that. And I'm giving this talk tonight, and I spend 2.5 months each year in Golden Bay near Takaka, and our nearest metropolis is Motueka, and I'm going to talk about Koppen sea anchors. And they're the best in the world. I'm going to sound American here, but the pride of Motueka just got a big contract with a group of human beings I used to work for called the United States Navy. And we're a pretty damn demanding customer. And so I believe that in the Motuekas of the world, there's plenty of room. Let's not talk about the smaller entrepreneurial thing, because I buy that act, and with the new technology, I think you can become a global hotshot, a term I just heard, micro-multinational, which I fell desperately in love with it.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's a wonderful term, isn't it? But, my model is Koppen's, and my model from the United States, which I'll talk about tonight, is a great company in New Jersey called the Red Carpet Store. And they're the people who put the red carpets down, at least in our country and beyond, at the Oscars and every other award show. And they're best on earth at red carpets. But I really think that the middle-sized company, a lot to say for the tiny one, but the job growth, and there's an MIT professor, comes from the ones among the smaller ones that grow. But the issue relative to, if we were talking about the small ones, is you don't have ones that become middle-sized unless you got a pretty decent base of the smaller ones.
Yes.
But I think it's an advantage. It's great that Citicorp has a flag that it's not trivial.
Yes.
But you don't need them from a performance or job standpoint. We don't. I'm not pointing at you because I don't know the numbers well enough. I'm pointing at the fingers pointed at myself.
So sort of that sweet spot between the agility of a small company but also the economies of scale of a larger organization.
Yeah, absolutely. I have a good friend. He runs a pretty big chemical company in the United States now, but he was the number 4 guy at BASF in Germany for a long time. And there was one time during the crash when the German numbers looked really good. And so I turned to him. We were on a walk in Croatia. And I said, "Patrick, you guys must be doing well." He started laughing hysterically. He said, "Don't blame BASF and Siemens and Commerzbank. The Mittelstand is back."
Yeah.
And these are, for example, let's talk about Peter Jackson because you're required to in all interviews in New Zealand. I'm sure he used those long gaffers cranes.
Yes.
Well, the company that makes approximately 100% of those planet-wide is, I don't know what their numbers are, is a middle-sized German company. And if ever there were a classic German device, that's it. And that one doesn't have to do with my earlier comment about balance.
Yes.
I don't really think the big guys do contribute that much to the German economy. And until 2 or 3 years ago, the Germans were the world's #1 exporters.
Yes.
They're ahead of the Americans. They were ahead of 5 years ago, it was United States number 1, Japan number 2, sorry, Germany number 1, USA 2, Japan 3, and China 4. And,
Yes.
that's flipped, but, that was the real world 5 years ago,
Yeah.
and it was on the back of the Mittelstand. And anybody who tries to tell anybody else differently is nuts. The data's there, and it is a country full of cop and sea anchors. Motueka rules,
Yes.
Hey, doesn't
Well-
get any better. I love these. I never met them, but I'm in love with them.
Well, hopefully we can focus on the cop and sea anchors and use that model to drive us forward.
Yeah.
Tom,
I mean, I know there are hundreds of companies like that. It just happens to be when we drive from Takaka to Nelson to fly to Auckland, we go through Motueka.
Tom, thank you very much for your time.